Welcome back to Don's Life. Today I'm going to share more of my experience with the new 15.6-inch Aucar Tesla style screen that I've installed in my newer style GMC Sierra pickup, also available for the newer style Chevy Silverados. We're also going to install one of two anti-glare screen protectors and maybe even play some games. Let's go. First off, if you haven't seen the first two videos, the full installation and my first comprehensive review, you may want to go check those out first. I'll link them in the video description below, but I am going to be skipping a lot of things that are talked about in those videos. I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm going to continue reviewing these type of devices as those opportunities become available, but I'm also going to keep reporting on this one, especially when we get into the colder climates living up here in Canada. Since owning and reviewing this device, I've been answering dozens of questions through email, through comments, and I can tell you there's a lot of curiosity around this. There's frustrations, there's questions, and I'm doing the best I can to keep up with them. Well, if you didn't know already, Aucar has created a Facebook group to offer support for potential buyers, owners, people that are just generally curious about how this device works, people that can share stories, fixes, resolutions, ideas. There's a huge repository of information available. I definitely recommend you check it out. It's free to join. I'll leave a link to this group in the video description below. Remember, I can only share what I experienced firsthand. Competing with hundreds of people on a group that have experienced different things than I have, they may have better insight into some things that you're wondering than I would. I'll continue to provide answers if I have them, but I may have to default to some of the people that have actually experienced those things so they can share with you what they found. So here's a good example for you right off the bat. Remember, I was one of the first to have this screen by Aucar, and at the time, this code was a little more secretive. 3 6s, 3 8s, probably the worst kept secret out there. But the problem I had was my resolution was wrong for my console screen, which would be the original screen that the truck had when you access your infotainment system. It was on 2020, mine's at 2021. It didn't work, the resolution was off. I picked 2022. It's on there right now, as you can see. And then when I came back to the console screen, this started to appear properly, which it does right now, but I lost my touch functionality. So the solution for that, and it's part of the setting change process, is you shut off the truck, close the door, come back in 20 minutes, and then you should have proper touchscreen response and everything should work properly. So that fix worked for a number of people, but what I learned in the Aucar Facebook group was that some people had defective LVDS cables that were and are being replaced as quickly as possible. I also get asked about SIM card functionality quite a bit. I'm in Canada, so our carriers and the data plans are not competitive like the rest of the world, and we pay more for the service. Therefore, I don't even know if it's worth it for me to do. However, in the group, there are lots of people sharing how to activate their new screens with various carriers. I'll tell you this, the carriers are probably confused if you tell them you need a SIM card for your truck screen. Tell them you have an Android tablet. That's a good starting point. You'll probably notice that my layout is different than the last video, and that's because there is a known issue with the background reverting after a while. I've been informed that an update is being provided to fix this in the near future. The problem is this will only last a few truck starts, maybe a few days. It's kind of random. Updating is also very easy. Aucar will provide updates and patches in the form of a downloadable file. I have been putting the file on a USB drive. Once you have it plugged into the device through the USB cable it comes with, you would push a button and it would do the update. I'm always going to be transparent with you. My GPS cable is sitting up here. I've only put it there temporarily because I plan on tapping the GPS cable that's built into the truck. I've got some parts coming. They're very inexpensive. I have a video that I'm going to make as soon as those parts get here to show you how to do that, so we don't have to use that GPS cable. And the good news, there's no actual cutting, splicing, anything like that. It's going to be all plug and play. And then we'll have access to the factory GPS antenna, which will give us a lot better coverage than this here. I have a couple more things that I want to show you that I've added and learned that may be up your alley or maybe not. So I found a little workaround when it comes to just the Bluetooth connectivity with your factory system. Right now we have the audio coming from Netflix. So I'm just sitting here, have Netflix playing, have Google Maps. Now I just want to demonstrate how easy it is. Let's say I want to go to the FM radio. I can do that in my gauge cluster. And look at that, it actually gives the episode name of the office that we're watching. It shows up on the display here, but I can change to say FM. I can change to Sirius. I can use my steering wheel controls to cycle through the different stations. Shows up. I'll just turn it down here so you don't get a copyright strike. You probably can't see it, but it'll give me the information that also shows up on the screen right here. It's really easy to switch back.
Stop, Dwight. You know what, Dwight? You're acting like a dork. Would you cool it?
So I think this would be handy so you don't have to get back to your home screen and go to your console when you want to make these switches. You can do it right here. My one gripe right now is the various connection speeds with CarPlay. As you can see, this time it connected quickly, but sometimes that's not the case. This is more of a software issue from what I understand. So maybe an update will become available that allows for a faster connection to CarPlay. You can see that was pretty fast, but again, that's not always the case. Sometimes it can take several minutes before it connects. Unless I want to toggle with Bluetooth settings and things like that, then often it'll come back a little quicker. But sometimes when it's left to its own settings, it can take a while. So that can be a little bit frustrating, but what I'm learning is that we don't really need CarPlay with this device, especially if we're just hotspotting or using a data plan, because you could put Apple Music as an app right on the device, and then you have all the map programs and everything here anyway. So the argument that you need CarPlay is starting to diminish because of all the different functionality you can actually get out of a device like this. But again, for those that love CarPlay, it has it. Right now we have CarPlay on. I can switch to FM. As an example, let's go Sirius XM. Why not?
6.
I can switch back. Do it one more time. Go FM this time. Go back. Now pause the media, so you might have to push play sometimes. So I also installed an application called Lemeroid. It's available on the Google Play Store. It's completely free, it's open source, and then you can go to a different website, lots of different websites, to download different ROMs of classic games, go down memory lane, a little bit nostalgic, but you can actually play these games on this screen or large tablet. You can get a Bluetooth controller. This is a cheap one off Amazon that I picked up. I've got a second one, it's for my daughters, that's why the cool color. And they can actually play 2-player games, up to 4-player games, depending on what the game offers, right here on the screen while I am focusing on driving. I could also be sitting back in my truck waiting for Mrs. DONSLIFE to do her craft shopping, and I could entertain myself. A quick Google search can get you so much information on setting this up on any Android device, so I'm not going to go through that in today's video, but I will demonstrate it. Adding the ROMs is actually quite easy. You copy from your USB drive to a folder on the device in the file management app, and then you can scan that directory, and then any games that you put on it will show up here. These are the only games I have, so I have nothing new to scan. And there are a number of different consoles and methods to get access to all your games. So right now I've got 3 different systems on here: Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and the original NES. But if we want to play Street Fighter 2, for example, it's just a button press away. They have a touchscreen controller on here. We don't want to do that. We'll just turn a controller on here. All Bluetooth, easy. Sounds here. Getting access to your AC controls and everything is just fine. That's all still here. Maybe we want to do split screen. No problem. Long press. Pick your second app. And now we can have this on top. Now the passengers can play games. I can still have my navigation. Everyone's happy. Now before I forget, I did want to reiterate that this does not have audio output to add on extra amplifiers, subwoofers, that type of thing. Whatever your factory system has, even if you've upgraded that with amplifiers, subwoofers, that type of thing, that'll all stay in place and work as normal. This does not have any extra outputs, RCAs, fiber optic, HDMI, anything like that to do any external upgrades to it. And on the note of audio, there will be an audio delay with anything that broadcasts video. It'll be perceivable. It may bother you, it may not. It does vary by manufacturer and vehicle on how quick that exchange may be when it comes to the audio transmission, especially when you have video that's also in the stream. So any streaming content, there will be a delay. If you download media and you put on a USB drive or save it to the device itself, you can use an app like VLC, which gives you the ability to manipulate some of the delays when it comes to audio, and you can sync it up, and that might be the experience that you're looking for. But again, that's only going to be content that you put on this, nothing that's streaming. Another thing I don't want to forget is you do have access to your trailer cameras. I just didn't have a trailer to connect to when I made the other two videos. My boat and my trailer were both at the lake, but I did connect to the trailer recently, and I can tell you when you signal left or signal right, it does show up on the screen, but it's not going to be automatic like when you put the vehicle in reverse. You have to get to your console here to be able to see all of your cameras, and it'll show up here. So if you're driving and you have this console open and you signal left or you signal right, it will show up on your screen. But if we're on a page like this and I signal left or right, it's not going to show. I'll have footage overlaid while I talk about all of this. Okay, now I think it's time to install one of the two screensavers. They're both anti-glare. One has a blue light filter to it, so it's going to look blue on here. I think we're going to go with the regular anti-glare since this is what most people would go with, and it is going to be more black on here, whereas this one is going to have a blue tinge to it. So we'll go with this one. I'll demonstrate how to install that. Both of these are available from Aucar. So let's get an idea of what the glare is right now. I put a piece of cardboard here to block the back windows because I wanted to shoot this video and make it not terrible to watch. Turn the screen off for a second. So there's our reflection there. Almost forgot. We have the original plastic on here. So that's gone. So let's maybe redo our reflection. Look at it's like a mirror. Hey Don, how's it going? So let's try and do this without the old screen protector on. I'm holding it from the tab on the top here. Drop in place. These guide stickers could be used as hangers or holders, so you could position this. I had to lift it a couple times to get some of these air bubbles out, but I'm pretty happy with that result. Let's see what this looks like with this cover taken off. Well, I would say the glare is definitely reduced. Huge difference. I'd say this works quite well. Let's turn the screen on. Yeah, I can live with that. It works. So I don't know if that's the update you've been looking for, but I hope it's provided some insights into this technology. I will definitely keep you up to date on my learnings. And on that note, if you liked today's video, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.